transparent, rosy whitening. White perfect. What cosmetics? I don't need cosmetics. The SK2 phenomenon! Hello. So today, I'm here to talk about what I call the SK2 phenomenon. There's an ancient Chinese saying that 一白遮百丑, which means that whiteness blocks all ugliness. So what exactly is it? It's the need for Asian women to all have perfectly white skin. So where did it all start? I believe it started in ancient Chinese art, where white was put on the nose, forehead, and the chin of a woman to emphasize her facial structure. Also, white skin was a sign of richness, because only the rich people could stay inside all day, whereas the poor folk had to go out and work on the fields. In the 19th century, the tradition was revitalized after the French aristocratic women came and trampled over all the Chinese women and made them feel inferior. Now, 160 years after it was revitalized, it has turned into this.
Coincidentally, the scene is located in Paris with the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe and the Versailles. There's a very obvious reason for this.
扭轉時間，我有 Dior Capture R6080，蘊含 B-Skin 逆時空活膚科技，1小時後迅速減退皺紋，連續用1個月，肌膚更青春幼滑，散發動人光彩。我嘅秘密，我將時間扭轉。
They want to be European, and so they make their skin whiter and whiter. Isn't this degrading our own race? We're being racist to ourselves. An unnatural white skin that is supposed to be beautiful? Why are women doing this to themselves? Let's have an experiment. You can decide for yourself.
Great. Another bleach-faced commercial lie that guilts women into buying cosmetics to make their skin whiter.
光彩可以抢过女人自己的光彩。这比
And although the jewelry is completely irrelevant to the whiteness of her skin and her beauty, it's there to convey richness and upper class.
SK2 金露帮我带走暗沉，整个脸就亮起来了。不止白，还白的很有光彩，到哪都让人眼睛一亮。
全新 SK2 晶透煥白蒸露，高機能亮白科技，每天抹掉暗沉，同時亮白。
The light shown on the actress's face is to emphasize the whiteness and the purity and the beauty of her skin.
SK2 晶透煥白系列，肌膚光彩動人。
It shames Asian women into carrying parasols everywhere they go. And speaking of which, where's my umbrella? Thanks. No, must protect from the sun. Oh, my skin will get black. No, that's not good. Okay, so now I'm perfectly shaded from the ceiling lights. My skin won't get any darker than it is right now.
Estée Lauder 美白新科技，全新 Cyber White EX 突破亮白系統。創新針對性美白科技，針對3大色斑元兇，頑固老化色斑、表皮色斑同潛伏色斑，逐一擊散，同時亮白。
So, what are some odd parts about this commercial? First off, the actresses are European. Why are they European when it's going to be broadcasted in Asia and it's going to be put on Asian skin?
配合全線使用，肌膚透亮度即時。
Second, what on earth is skin clarity? How does one actually measure skin whiteness? And how did they come up with the number, a 78 increase in skin clarity? What is that?
提升78%，全新 Cyber White EX 突破亮白系統 ，Estée Lauder。
So on this note, I think I'll go get a whitening face mask to make my skin whiter. Yo, Steven, wanna join me?
Hell yeah, my skin is so black and ugly.
Hey, so I heard there are these chemicals that can change your biological makeup.
What? I'll be able to turn into a dragon or something?
No, not like that. I meant as in suppressing certain pigments in your skin cells.
Darn it.
Let's have an epidermic studies professor to elaborate on this intriguing issue. Mr. Jin, Professor Jin, please, if you may.
Melanin is a pigment in your skin that controls how dark your skin is. The more melanin you have, the darker your skin. The most common form of biological melanin is eumelanin, which is a brown-black polymer of dihydroxyndole carboxylic acid. All melanins can be considered as derivatives of polyacetylene since they rely on polyconjugate structures. The increased production of melanin in human skin is called melanogenesis. Production of melanin is stimulated by DNA damage induced by UVB radiation, and it leads to a delayed development of a tan. This melanogenesis-based tan takes more time but is long-lasting. The photochemical properties of melanin makes it an excellent photoprotectant. It absorbs harmful UV radiation and transforms them into harmless heat through a process called ultrafast internal conversion. This property enables melanin to dissipate more than 99.9% of the absorbed UV radiation as heat, and prevents the indirect DNA damage that is responsible for the formation of malignant melanoma and other skin cancers.
Holy Jesus! Wow, that's the most words I've ever heard you say, Robert.
透白感受媲美日本頂級美白，可能嗎？有可能。Olay 第一款滴管式淡斑精華，特有 Sappy White， 有助從細胞源頭。
The first point that the commercial makes is that its advertised product would, using a chemical, control the melanin in our skin.
抑制黑色素，淡化色斑，28天彷彿點亮千萬細胞。
The commercial outright says that the product will suppress the amount of melanin in our skin. So now, cosmetics aren't just going to be applied onto our skin, but that cosmetics that is applied is also going to change our biological structure.
就係有可能，消費者試用感受媲美日本頂級美白，全新 Olay 滴管式淡斑精華。
At the end of the commercial, the slogan says, Olay, your skin and you. The more you change, the more beautiful you become. The deeper we dig into these commercials, the more evidence we see of how cosmetics companies are conveying the message that Asian women have to change themselves to make themselves whiter in order to become more beautiful.
We see a special similarity between how dark skin is discriminated in this book and of how dark skin is discriminated in Asian culture. In Asia, darker skin has an underlying notion that you're of a worker or lower class, someone who does manual labor and has to be in the sun for prolonged periods of time. This makes your skin darker and gives other people an image of a lower class worker. In Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Jin and all of the other African American characters have dark skin due to their genetics, but in the end, the discrimination and the underlying image is of the same. The darker skinned people would do worse jobs. African Americans as slaves toil in the fields or do jobs that no Caucasians would do. While Asians in Asia who have darker skin are immediately thought of as manual worker class or people who have to work in the rice fields for a living, even if they're not slaves.
In Kitchen God's Wife, there are some instances in the book which bring up cosmetics among the female characters. For a long time, whitening powder was part of the Chinese cosmetics for women to appear beautiful. It is part of the Chinese culture, and one of the stereotypes was that stereotype we mentioned at the beginning of the video, where having makeup on demonstrated you had money to buy cosmetics and beautify yourself. This also implied that you belonged to a higher social class. Peanut is seen putting on her makeup for the festival, before she and Winnie met Wen Fu. The act of putting on cosmetics is similar to the aforementioned stereotype because she wanted to seem suitable to be married. The Asian stereotype today has a somewhat different meaning after the Chinese had more exposure to Europeans and their fashion styles. White still means beautiful as it had before, and now whitening your skin simply is the only definition of beautiful, instead of having anything to do with wealth. Not having makeup would make you seem to be lower class because you would work laborious jobs. We can see that the meaning has slightly changed today, but overall, white still portrays you as a higher class, just in a different context today compared to the past.
You know what I think is bad about this phenomenon? All Asian women want to change their race. They want to become Western. But do they realize the consequences of having whiter skin? Do they realize the money spent on cosmetics can be spent elsewhere? Do they know that the whitening powder is actually bad for you? It makes your wrinkles grow faster because it dries your skin. Do you know that white skin actually reduces your resistance to sunlight and UV rays? Ever wonder why Westerners have to slather themselves in suntan lotion just to walk out into the sun, while we seldom even get sunburn, even if we don't put suntan lotion on? There are benefits of Asian skin and darker skin, so why should we try to make our skin whiter? Ironically enough, this is actually the opposite in Western cultures, when Westerners try to go out on the beach and tan themselves to make their skins darker because it's a sign of richness and vacation time. Our conclusion is that women should stop spending so much money buying skin products that make your skin whiter and actually go out and embrace the sunlight and not wear a parasol everywhere you go and just be proud.
Don't matter if you're black or white.